Shortly after the American Civil War, there were, of course, both Union and Confederate memorials erected in communities to honor those who lost their lives. Now, I don't know about you, but when I have my historical lens aimed at the past, when I'm tightly focused at that time and place, those memorials do make some sense to me. People had died, and regardless of which side the individual was on, their loss was felt by their families and communities. Now, when I zoom out and look at the larger picture, the longer story, then things start looking less natural, less understandable, not so much about the individual. They start looking more strategic. After the war ended and slavery was abolished, we entered something called the Reconstruction era. Multiple amendments were added to the Constitution related to ensuring formerly enslaved people had citizenship and equal rights. The former Confederate states now needed to be reintegrated into the United States. But man, they were not feeling it. They knew, of course, they had lost the war, but did what they could to push back against the progress that was being forced upon them, making efforts to keep black people separate from white people. To learn more about that, look up black codes. Anyway, during that time, guess what one of the things was they did with their resentment? Build monuments to the Confederacy. Just to remind you of the timeline, the war had ended in 1865, but between 1890 and 1920, suddenly people wanted more monuments. And by the way, if you doubt that, I encourage you to verify what I'm saying here. This is not my opinion. This is well documented. And then, a little later in our story, when it again looked like progress was being made during the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s, guess what some people were suddenly interested in once again? That's right, monuments to the Confederacy. Unfortunately, at multiple points in our nation's history, when larger society was looking forward, some people wanted to point back. Well, wanted long-lasting symbols in community spaces pointing back. And not just pointing back, but attempting to make people on the wrong side of history appear more noble. And by the way, that's not my opinion. It's something called the lost cause. Go look it up. And so this has been a very brief history of Confederate monuments in the United States. Regardless of whether a particular community chooses to leave them up, take them down, replace them, or put them in a museum. Whatever. At least you and I now have a better understanding of their origin and purpose. Specifically, that there were multiple points of origin and multiple purposes.